This is Dennis Callan taking you on a train tour of Great Britain.
We're traveling north by train. We're heading to the north of England. We'll soon be arriving in the Lake District and the charming town of Windermere. It takes about 4 hours to get from London heading north to the Lake Country. There's a direct train from London to Oxenholme, and then you change trains and continue on to Windermere, and it's well worth the trip. So it's about 4.5 hours altogether by the time you get here, which puts it beyond the range of a simple day trip. So you'll want to spend at least a night or several nights in this charming countryside and really get a chance to tour and see the towns, do a little shopping. Actually, you can enjoy some fine dining here in Windermere as well. And it's a good base of operations for heading out to see the other lakes in the district and enjoying some day tours, as we'll be doing on this program. Here's a brave little girl. The swans are taller than she is. Perhaps she was brought up amongst them. Swans are a common sight in the British countryside, and ducks and geese and all sorts of friendly tame wildlife. The British love their animals, and they love their boat rides. On Lake Windermere, you can pick from a variety of kinds of excursion boats. You can have a 1-hour cruise or an all-day cruise. You can enjoy a cruise with dinner. There's hydrofoils, there's rowboats, there's sailboats for rent. All kinds of nautical activities here on the shores of Lake Windermere. It's the largest lake in Britain. It's over 10 miles long, and there are several villages along the shores of the lake. Here we're in Bowness-on-Windermere, which is about 2 miles from the town of Windermere itself. Watch your manners. English swans taught in the British proper style. As we board the boat and carry on for the afternoon, it's a bit of a gray day, but at least it's not raining. And actually it's quite pleasant. The temperature here is in the high 60s. There's a slight breeze on the lake, but not terribly windy, just enough wind to push along these little sailboats. A most pleasant day. If it's not raining in the lake country, it's good weather. It tends to be rather damp in this district. It gets about 100 inches of rain a year. But if you're lucky, and particularly in the summertime, it doesn't rain quite as often as in the winter. Of course, the summer is when everybody wants to be here. In this case, we're enjoying a fine July afternoon. And the temperature is pleasant enough that everybody is out on the open top seating rather than down below in the cabin area. After all, you want the view. That's why we're enjoying this boat ride, is to have a look at this charming rolling countryside along the shores of the Lake of Windermere. The boat service during the season is frequent enough that you don't have to worry about looking at schedules of boat departures or making reservations on one of these excursion boats. Just show up by the shores of the lake at Bowness and inquire at the dock when's the next boat leaving. There's a Pantheon type structure. You'll find a lot of the classical touches of architecture scattered throughout the countryside in Great Britain. Well, our 2-hour ride is up already as we head back into port and into the town itself. It's the largest town in the Lake District, but it still has a small town charm. After all, its population is well under 30,000 here at Windermere. And here's our bed and breakfast. This is typical of British country accommodations. There's the breakfast room, and you'll have your fried eggs and your sausage and your baked beans and baked tomatoes and toast and coffee or tea to have a great start for the morning. Very British. And there's always a nice parlor. You can sit and chat with some of the guests, and it's a great opportunity to meet some fellow travelers, and in this case most of them are from Great Britain. During the summer it's best to make reservations ahead of time, as this is a very popular place and they don't have all that many hotels. So you can make your reservations by telephone with a list of different bed and breakfasts that are published, or you can go to one of the British Tourist Authority offices, as we did in London, and make reservations directly from London with any bed and breakfast practically throughout the whole country. So it's a great system for securing space. The Windermere Hotel is a fine place to stay. It's located just next to the train station, And about 5 minutes walk from there, you'll find yourself in the midst of farmlands, enjoying splendid scenic beautiful views from the top of the hill, sharing space with some sheep and some cows. One is constantly reminded here of the beauties and the power of nature and how man's proper guidance can shape nature and utilize the forces of nature for productive good without destroying it. Man can harmonize with nature and actually improve and enhance the beauties by plantings, by landscaping, creating beautiful paths that can bring us into the heart of the country. A simple walk through the woods can provide a transcendental experience for the harried traveler. To walk in quiet solitude through the forest can provide memories that will help regenerate your energy for many, many months and years to come. It'll create a quiet spot in your mind that you can return to anytime you choose. The experience reminds one of a poem by William Wordsworth, the laureate of the lakes, who said, "Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils." Well, okay, they're not daffodils, but even the reeds and grasses along the shores of Lake Windermere take on a mystical beauty, enveloped in this aura of perfect nature. Small sailboats are waiting for you here, waiting to be hired to take you onto the lake, where you can explore any one of 14 different islands, surrounded by the shore stretching for 24 miles around England's largest lake. The waters are clean and clear, but temperatures even here in July seem a bit too nippy to jump in and swim, although some do try. Better to stand on the small dock and skip stones out across the surface of the lake. So let's explore these emerald shores in the simplest way by putting one foot in front of the other and gliding along through the forest to enjoy the sights. You're watching part of a brand new series on World Traveler about the British Isles. We'll be presenting more programs about York and Yorkshire and then heading further north up to Scotland and Ireland. These adventures always include a mix of the natural beauties and cultural landmarks and history, urban architecture, shopping, and fine dining as we travel through the highlights of Europe. We'll be presenting many more images to you of Great Britain and the British Isles, filmed during our tour last year. We'll start in London and head down to Penzance and enjoy the beauties of Devon and Cornwall. We'll spend a few days in Bath and travel by train up to York, and then cross over to the Lake Country and stay right here in Windermere for several days and enjoy different kinds of day trips and walks along the shores of the lake. We'll then travel north to Scotland, visiting Edinburgh and the Highlands, staying at Inverness near Loch Ness. You'll find the beauties of the Highlands can easily match the stunning surroundings of the Lake District. From there, we'll head back to London, and some of us will continue on an optional trip to Ireland. So it's a real extensive visit to the British Isles. This dog was a panic. He loved to walk in the woods with his mistress, but he enjoyed a slightly faster pace than they did, So his strategy was to walk ahead at his own pace and then stop, wait for them to catch up, and walk ahead again. And keep going like this in an endless cycle on his daily walk.